Oppenheimer gazed at the rain, but his mind was filled with stars, quantum, explosions, and flames, like his destined extraordinary life, full of challenges and controversy. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humans, for which he was punished and tortured on a rock. Oppenheimer, a man who could take hundreds of thousands of lives with a flick of his finger, was defenseless as politicians interrogated him with piles of files. Lewis Strauss, chairman of the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission, needed to respond to Oppenheimer's leftist background to join Eisenhower's cabinet. The most absurd was that Oppenheimer's studies in Europe became a reason for attack. They even questioned why he studied in Europe when Berkeley had the world's most advanced theoretical physics courses. Oppenheimer said he founded Berkeley's physics. In truth, his European studies weren't smooth. His poor practical skills made him unpopular with teachers, so when others attended Bohr's lectures, he stayed back to clean the lab. In the cabinet, a bottle of poison caught Oppenheimer's eye and he felt a murderous urge. Back in his dorm, he would see countless stars, galaxies, and the universe in his mind, even light, waves, quantum, and particles. Suddenly, he snapped out of it, jumped out of bed, and rushed back to the lab. Seeing the untouched green apple from the lecture, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Bohr was also in the lab. He also suggested that Heimer go to Heidelberg, Germany to study, but he never expected that while chatting, Bohr suddenly picked up the green apple. Heimer seized the moment, quickly grabbed the apple, and threw it into the trash can, finally feeling relieved. Later, he followed Bohr's advice to continue studying theoretical physics in Germany. But just when everyone thought Heimer would stay in Europe for further studies, he declined Heisenberg's offer and chose to return to the US. The reason for all this was that at the time, the US's research on quantum mechanics was almost non-existent. Although Heimer had only one student when he returned, he tirelessly showcased the charm of quantum mechanics. Before long, his class became a hot topic in the physics department, with more and more students attending. His university work experience also introduced Heimer to many intellectuals who joined the Communist Party. Although he never joined the party, he often attended gatherings because there was a woman who captivated him. Just as the two were exploring the relationship between humans and nature, Shang suddenly brought a Sanskrit book. Heimer read it too. And this passage surprisingly hinted at Heimer's future. They thought they would develop further, but on their first date, Heimer left Joan on the roadside and ran off. It turned out that a globally sensational event had occurred in Germany. Their physicists had discovered nuclear fission. Heimer quickly turned to the blackboard to personally calculate the experiment's feasibility. Seeing the negative result on the board, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Who would have thought? The next second, Lawrence said the neighboring lab had already successfully replicated it. Nuclear fission was reflected, and this major discovery gave Heimer a very big feeling. A bad feeling because once Pandora's box is opened, it can't be closed again. Later, Heimer brought flowers to apologize to Joan, but she threw them in the trash and left. However, he never expected that Heimer wasn't affected by this and instead met a married woman named Katie at a party, whom he couldn't resist. Katie, a biologist, was tired of her nominal marriage, but her connection with Heimer made her believe in love again. So, after their second meeting, they decided to marry immediately. That day, an officer named Groves entered Heimer's room. He was the military head of the Manhattan Project. Just 5 minutes later, Oppenheimer became the chief scientist of the Manhattan Project. This man finally held the power to destroy the Earth. When Groves approached him, Heimer was unusually excited because he had a dream since he was young to combine physics with New Mexico, and that would make his life complete. The Manhattan Project gave Heimer the chance to shine. He first distributed research tasks across various locations and then used the railway network to centralize the results in Los Alamos. This operation even made the proud Colonel Groves applaud. To slow down the Germans, Heimer had the military launch an anti-Semitic propaganda campaign to make Germany distrust Jewish scientists. As a result, Germany cut research funding, creating an opportunity for the US to surpass them. In the following months, Heimer recruited top scientists across the US to join the Manhattan Project. Although Heimer recruited many scientists, he never expected that his good friend from his studies in Europe, Lobby, would refuse to join. But his reason left Heimer unable to refuse. Building the atomic bomb almost encapsulated the essence of nearly 300 years of physics knowledge. Robbie couldn't bear to see the efforts of generations turn into a destructive weapon, so he simply declined his friend's invitation. Before leaving, he advised Heimer to take off his military uniform early. Forgetting his identity would make Heimer look like a ridiculous clown. After hearing his friend's words, Heimer not only changed back into a suit and hat but also reconsidered his job. That day, Taylor discovered a strange phenomenon. He wrote the calculation results on paper, but as soon as he handed over the draft, Heimer just glanced at it and said he needed to find Einstein in Princeton. He hoped the elder could personally calculate whether detonating the atomic bomb would ignite the atmosphere. Unexpectedly, Einstein said he hated math just like Heimer and stated it was Heimer's responsibility, not his. However, if the atomic bomb could indeed destroy the world, Heimer must find a way to share the technology with Hitler to ensure neither side would destroy the world. Fortunately, after Lawrence's recalculations, the atomic bomb wasn't enough to destroy the world. But before Heimer could catch his breath, a new problem arose. Although the Americans and Soviets were allies, nuclear tests were always conducted in secret. That day, Strauss got word the Soviets might be testing nukes. He suspected a mole at Los Alamos, but Oppenheimer dismissed it. Oppenheimer then asked at a seminar why they couldn't share tests with the Soviets if they were allies. He almost missed joining the Manhattan Project due to communist ties, and his risky talk now alarmed the military and politicians. Groves changed daily seminars to weekly, a move that saved Oppenheimer. Later, Oppenheimer was questioned for meeting Chiang, but Groves resolved it. On Christmas, Oppenheimer's old friend Bohr showed up at the base party. Bohr had escaped Denmark to the US and nearly died from lack of oxygen flying to the UK. Oppenheimer learned from Bohr that Heisenberg went to Copenhagen to see Bohr. Heisenberg talked about Germany's ongoing reactions, using heavy water instead of graphite. This thrilled Oppenheimer and others because Germany was using the wrong method, putting the US ahead. Oppenheimer invited Bohr to join the research, but Bohr said he came to discuss the future. Bohr warned that the power Oppenheimer was creating would change the world, but the world wasn't ready. Bohr insisted politicians must see they were researching a new world, not just a weapon. Oppenheimer was like America's Prometheus, giving humanity the power to self-destruct.